Leading Ladies, a concert in celebration of Women's History Month featuring Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, Christina Perry. At the King's Theater in Brooklyn, New York on Wednesday, March 20th. Tickets are on sale now. You don't want to miss this amazing night of music dedicated to uplifting women's voices. With Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, and Christina Perry. Odyssey's Leading Ladies presented by Olay Body. Buy your tickets now at kingstheater.com.
Stand by for an urgent bulletin.
Showtime. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Ready.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz
My job is to run this show. I'm as confused as I've ever been.
and Jason Duda. For today, anyway.
Man, I'm so much smarter than I get credit for, or that I give myself credit for.
That sounds like a lethal combination.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Stand by for action.
All right, here we are, a Wednesday, very short edition of the Bob and Jeff Show with Bob Lutz, Jason Duda, Mike Furches in with us in the West Wichita basement studio today. We will give way to Shocker Baseball at about 2:45 today, the pregame show, before their game down in Tulsa against Oral Roberts, which you can hear right here. How you doing, Mr. Furches? Good to see you.
I'm doing wonderful, Mr. Luce, outside of hitting a golf ball for 2.5 hours yesterday.
Yeah, I understand that took a toll.
Well, yeah, all the bending over and swinging and clubbing, and it's a lot of fun. Top golf is it's a lot of fun. So
Good. How about you, tough guy?
What? What are you
Well, my
starting
dog-
with already?
My dog just tried to get up there with you, and you
She's
wouldn't.
right here. She's been up. Look, watch this.
You wouldn't
She'll
let
come-
her up, and
She'll come sit with me at any time. She doesn't.
well, sure she
doesn't
will.
want to go sit with you when I'm here.
Well,
You notice that,
Good for her.
right, Miss?
looks like she's checking her pockets for treats or something.
I don't need to give her treats.
And we had a little discussion about dogs before the show started. Mike's got a new dog by the name of
Bruno
Bruno.
had that name before I got it. I did not name it after Bruno Mars. It had its name and knew its name, so we didn't change it.
And Duda's got a couple dogs, but we were talking about earlier and before we went on the air about how we spoil our dogs, and I definitely do, and I think most people do. But Duda was more than happy to pipe up. Now I
Nah.
don't.
No,
Do you
not
let your,
me.
Do you let
Really?
your dog?
No,
You think that wins you any adoration out there?
absolutely.
Who? From who?
Jeff.
And
Oh,
he's
Jeff
not- he's
doesn't
not
want you to pamper a dog?
No, if it was a cat, be a different story.
Man,
Just the way it works.
do you let do you let
Am I
your dog?
nice to my dogs? Absolutely. Do they treat them well? Absolutely.
Do you let him sleep in the bed with you?
They sleep. I got to sleep in a different room.
Good, Dia. And that's not because of the dogs. I'll just tell you
Normally,
that
no.
right
Actually, normally, no. That's probably true. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said that.
Well, good for her.
Oh, well, as long as you're happy and you've made her happy, everything's good in the world.
I am happy. That
Yeah.
made me happy.
That makes you happy? Good. I'm glad that you're happy. It's a good thing this is a short show.
We're
I want
all-
you to be happy for too long.
We're all in the same bed every night. We love it up there. Right, Misty?
Does she get between you and?
She gets right over by Debbie.
Yeah.
And
So she knows where the sweetness is at.
yeah, she knows. She understands, but that's where the blanket is too. So but she sleeps like a log.
Yeah.
I don't think she moves during the night. It's
Really?
yeah.
That's impressive, though.
Speaking of blankets, I made 2 great investments this last year. I bought my Circle water bottle, but I splurged and spent $50 for an electric blanket.
I don't think that's a splurge. I think
It's
that's
splurge.
almost a necessity, isn't
Oh, an
it?
electric blanket?
electric. Oh my goodness!
Well, I guess you guys are a little older, so probably need the
You
blood.
don't have an electric blanket?
No, the blood. You guys need the blood flowing and stuff a little bit better, probably. So that makes sense.
Have you
yeah,
been
that's
drinking?
Not
He's from
it's not
Canada.
a splurge.
He's from up in Canada. He's
You're
used to
okay
staying
with.
at-
I'm okay with you doing that.
You're used to
Mike.
sleeping down
You
the
don't have an
igloo.
electric blanket.
No,
Did you when you were in Canada?
no, we don't need
They
electric.
don't even have electricity.
Exactly. Not when I grew up. My igloo, you couldn't have electricity on in the igloo.
What a backwoods continent. or
It wasn't the woods.
Whatever
it's
it
more
is.
igloos are made out of snow, so you can't have too much heat in the igloo. It'll melt.
Is it where you use your candle and use a candle to get the heat with the pots that they used in sand. Those clay pots. You ever seen that?
I don't know.
This is a
You've
benefit of working.
obviously never been to my part of Canada, Mike.
Probably not.
No, it's
No,
different.
let me
I've
put it
I've been to
this way.
Vancouver, but that's a ways off from me.
Nobody would go there unless they absolutely had to.
I want to go to one of those bowl games that they
You
have
know
over
what,
there.
Bob? That's true. Literally, that's true.
Well, I know it is.
That's absolutely
It's
true.
so far up there. Why would you?
It's crazy how far it is. Takes a long time to get there.
Once you get to the Canadian border, okay, and I presume that's the Montana border, right?
Where I'm from,
Yeah.
yes.
Montana border.
Yeah.
How far from the Montana border to Sixsmith, Alberta?
13 hours.
Goodness gracious.
That's ridiculous.
That's absolutely crazy.
And how do you get there? Is there any
You
4-lane
drive.
highway?
There is now.
There's a 4-lane highway
There is now.
all the way to Sixsmith.
Yeah, there wasn't when I used to drive down all the time for the first 5 hours.
What's the
It's a
speed limit?
2-lane. Way you go.
You say 13 hours. What's the speed limit?
Well, it used to be 100 kilometers an hour, which is 60 miles an hour, but they've bumped it up to 120.
How many miles an hour is that?
That's about 68-ish.
Why don't they bump it up to what we have it
67.
down here? There's not a person in Canada. You're not going to run into anything.
No, that's what I've always figured too, but I don't know why.
It's the
Do
moose.
they hit a lot of deer and elk up there?
Moose,
You don't want to hit a moose.
deer, and moose. You hit a moose, you're in trouble.
It's
Like
it's like hitting a Cadillac.
your F-150's done.
It's,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do.
Done.
Is that why they keep the speed limit lower?
That is one reason, yes. Probably the main reason back there.
Well, there you go.
Do you know when I used to come down, so this would have been in the mid-90s to late 90s, when we got down to Montana, you know what the speed limit was?
80. I have no idea.
Reasonable. That's what
Really?
it said on the yes. I swear to God.
That's it.
We got down there and I picked up Clint Black my second year. We were coming down.
You picked up Clint Black.
That was his name.
The
I know.
singer?
Sounds like the singer, but it was a different guy.
Was Lisa Hartman with him?
No, Shania Twain was with us though. Anyways, so in Montana at that time, the speed limit just said reasonable.
Oh my goodness.
We were going like 80, 85 on the highway, and I should have been on the shoulder because I was going nowhere near fast enough, I figured out. It was
Fine.
crazy.
It's like
Now
you're
let
in
me
Texas.
let me ask both of you. And Mike Furches is with us today. Jason Duda, yours truly. Montana is a hole in my resume. I've never been there. I set out for Montana one summer with my friend Doug. We only made it as far as Deadwood, South Dakota. We found everything we needed right there. Just a fantastic vacation. But I need to get to Montana. Am I right about that?
Yes, Devil's
Do
Tower.
I need to get to Montana?
Yes, you need
It's
to get
awesome.
there. It's a beautiful state.
It's awesome.
And I need to drive from one end to the other, right? And then I need
I
to
would.
come back through Yellowstone, and I need to say I've done that.
Well, then if you're there, you might as well just zip into Canada to say you got there.
Yeah, I need to go into Canada,
Yeah. Then you can say that you actually went
but
there.
then I got to get a passport and all that other stuff.
Yes. You don't have a passport?
Not one that's certainly not viable at this point. No.
When's the last time you got it?
Before my trip to Ireland in 2009.
Yeah, so you need a new one.
And
what
I don't know.
happens? What happens if I go up and call you and say, "Hey, come and visit"? I'm sending a charter plane down.
Well, the lack
What are
of
you
a
gonna do?
passport would not be the primary reason I'd say no.
Oh. That's
It would be
Dia's going to be upset that
3
you
or
didn't
4
want to see
reasons
her.
ahead of that.
Oh,
Dia's going to be there? Oh, then I'll get a passport.
Oh, so that's how it works.
Pop culture question for you.
Oh,
Okay.
hit me. Because I own the
Doug-
games down here in this basement.
Former Prime Minister, one of my favorite people ever to live, Bobby Douglas, was the Prime Minister of Canada. Who's his nephew? Do you know Bob?
No.
Robert Douglas.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Well, you should have known
Kiefer
that.
I should know
Sutherland.
that, yeah.
Being a Canadian, you should have known that.
Maybe.
One of the great, was a Baptist preacher, became prime minister, and established a healthcare system for Canada. The Prairie Giant. It was in the movie about him. It's an incredible story. Bobby Douglas, good Canadian.
And
Interesting.
you
Just one
know,
every now and then.
when you mentioned Kiefer Sutherland, it brings to mind that whenever the end of my life is, and I look back on my favorite all-time television shows, 24 will be in that mix.
24 changed television history, I think. The way that the continuation of the series, the time frame, the way they shot it, nothing like that had ever been done. It's still, and with Kiefer Sutherland. The other one was okay without Kiefer, but the ones with Kiefer,
were
by far the best.
Did you watch that?
I never
show?
watched that.
Oh, you watched the first one, you're hooked for 7 seasons.
You couldn't wait for the next week.
Yeah.
It always left you on the edge. I'm serious. I mean, on the edge of your seat is a cliche, but it always left you, oh my God, what's going to happen? It was that kind of show.
With the countdown clock, every episode, the whole season takes place in a 24-hour time frame. And each hour of the show is an hour of that 24-hour time frame. And
very well done.
Very well done, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Kiefer Sutherland was great in it.
You might want to watch it.
You'd like
I
it.
might give it a shot.
Yeah.
It's great. Not good, great.
It is one of the better series ever on television.
What's
And
it
I'm gonna
on?
be
You know what it's
careful.
on?
I'm going to say it's a top 20 all-time show for me because there's been a lot.
It's a good one.
What's it streaming on? Do you know? Well, just a minute. I'll find out.
Yeah, what are you?
I'm the new Jeff. Just a second.
Yeah,
You
look
guys
it up.
talk because it's going to take me 5 to 8
That would
minutes.
be a good category. Top 10 all-time TV shows.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday, we're going to do that.
Okay.
And we'll bring back top 10 intermittently, but that's a good one to do.
Top 10.
Don't give away any of them now.
There's a lot.
There are a lot.
There's a lot of good
There's
ones.
a lot.
And there's some good ones as of recent.
Oh,
Just to name one that just won some Screen Actors Guild Awards, that won some Golden Globes. The one that you like a lot is
Succession.
Succession one, and then there's the beef or the beast? What's the
Beef.
the beef? Yeah, it won several as
It
well.
would not make my top 10. But it's very good.
The bear.
Would not make my top 10.
Yeah.
But very good.
Very good. Yeah.
I mean, I've been around a long time. It will take an extraordinary
We go back.
television show to make my top 10.
We go back to the days of 3 channels and somebody holds the tinfoil.
Exactly.
Do you ever have those days, Jason, up in Canada?
Oh, that's still
Tinfoil.
the
Yeah, you have to
Well,
put
that's how
tinfoil
you
on the
wrap yourself up when you go to school to keep warm.
You paint a terrible picture of Canada. If I was a Canadian listening to you, proud of my country,
That's how you guys would perceive it.
Proud
so
of my
I just said
heritage.
it before you got to it.
I would be so disappointed.
I loved Canada except for the weather. It gets
Yeah, go in the
cold
summer.
and it gets dark. Even in the summer, you have
It doesn't
7-hour
get
days.
dark in the summer, and it's nice.
I was always up in September, October, is whenever we were up there.
Oh, you got to go in July, August.
We couldn't. We were booking shows in Florida at that time.
Well, now you're not booking shows, so I'll book you a flight into Grand Prairie, which is
That'd be great.
15
Oh,
minutes from Sexsmith.
Where do you fly into Grand Prairie from? Seattle? Do they have a flight to Grand Prairie?
No, you got to go to
Minneapolis?
Calgary or Edmonton. Nothing in the states.
None in the U.S.
Can't take. There's no flight from the states that goes to.
So you'd have
Grand
to
Prairie.
drive into Calgary and fly over to Grand
So
Prairie.
from Wichita, we're
Or you
looking
could
at,
fly here to Denver to Calgary to Grand Prairie.
what are we looking at? 3 connections.
No, 2.
No, if
Connect
you
in
connected
Denver,
in Denver,
connect in Calgary,
Oh.
in Grand Prairie.
just an awful flight.
See you later. It's great. You'd leave here at 9 in the morning, and you'll be in Grand Prairie in the afternoon.
It'd take you a week on a train, wouldn't it?
I'd
On the train, it'd take you like 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
3 weeks.
On a train, with all the stops, it'd take you 3 weeks.
I like
My dad got on the train in Yuma, and I picked him up in Dallas.
Well, it
And
takes
he was
forever.
on it. He was on it for over. It was like 32 hours just to get to Dallas.
We left here in the morning, very early, from Newton, many years ago,
3 o'clock in
probably close to 20 years ago now. And we got to Chicago. We left at 4 in the morning. We got to Chicago at 5 in the evening. So
It wasn't too bad.
it wasn't too bad.
That's not bad.
Stopped a couple times. But I like the train.
Yeah. Wasn't there talk about Wichita getting a station?
There's still talk.
Yeah,
It'd be a part of the
Newton
be
connection.
from Wichita to Oklahoma City, and it wouldn't, not a very expansive route yet, but they're talking about maybe.
You could get that connector city and go from there. I've never traveled train. I mean, when I was in New York for a little bit, we would take the train, of course, the L in Chicago, but that's not really the train. That's the subway. But I would love to travel by train. My daughter went from Newton to she went to the Grand Canyon. She said it was just a great trip.
I was 10 years old when my father took me on the train, leaving out of Wichita at that time, to Houston to see the Cardinals and Astros play in the brand new Astrodome.
Wow.
That was unbelievable
I would think so.
for a 10-year-old kid.
Especially back then in the 60s. That'd have
Yeah,
been,
we don't need to talk about back then.
that would have been super sweet.
Well, yeah.
And now it sits, not doesn't seem like that long ago, but now it sits basically in disarray.
The Astrodome?
Yeah.
Well, they don't even do much there anymore.
No.
But it's still standing.
Yeah.
It's right next to Reliance Stadium, in fact.
Well, it's like,
And it's just majestic, but it would be a small venue compared to a lot of the ones that have opened.
do you remember the old Kansas Coliseum?
Yeah.
And all the memories that came from that particular arena. And we have interest, which is great, and I'm grateful for interest. And it's a lot better than I think people give it credit for. I don't think that the BOK Center is that much better than interest.
Did you watch Mr. Duda out there at the
Yeah.
Kansas Coliseum?
No, not the Kansas Coliseum. I saw him at interest.
Well, you wouldn't have seen me play at Interest because I never played there.
Was
Yeah, he never
coach?
played it.
Coached there,
coached
but
there.
only
He played at the Kansas Coliseum.
from 96 to 2009.
Right. And
You watched the
Interest
game?
opened in
That's when I
2009.
seen you coach, because I think
If
2009. I was here in 2009, but not very long.
if you were lucky enough
You
to
may
go
have
to a-
never seen him play.
Yeah, I may not.
you were
have.
lucky enough to go to a Thunder game from those years.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a sight to see.
Let me tell you.
Just a mad dash across the
The
ice.
slow guy over there on the left side, that was me, sitting on the end of the bench looking for water after every shift.
Would you say that was that among Wichita's heydays for sports, because you had the Thunder, you had the Wings? I mean, people have a hard time now that we have this thing that we call the Wings, but 10,000 plus people. I mean, it was
The
not
Thunder
even the same
drew
thing.
well. The Wings drew well.
Yeah, they both drew well.
Yeah, they both
Um,
did really well.
that
They were
was kinda the-
televised.
That was kind of the heyday.
Yeah.
But I'll just say this, and I didn't mind the Kansas Coliseum, but I was a strong proponent that they shouldn't put millions and millions of dollars into renovating that spot. They should build a new downtown arena, and fortunately they did. And I don't think we've looked back. At least I haven't.
I enjoyed playing and coaching at the Coliseum more than Interest.
Why is that?
I think just atmosphere-wise. Not Interest is great, don't get me wrong. But atmosphere, because at the Coliseum you're right on top of each other. I mean, the fans were right there. I could just tell stories
Right
about
right on the glass.
behind
side.
the bench and loud. It was just a different atmosphere. But I also only played there, so I didn't play at Interest, so I might be a little biased.
Yeah, I think you would have enjoyed Interest.
Well, I enjoyed coaching there. Let me tell you, I enjoyed
Locker
coaching
room's probably a little better.
way better. I mean,
Yeah.
it used to snow through that back door at the Kansas Coliseum, and that wind tunnel would come right down to our room where we were at. But it was fun.
But you're Canadians.
Yeah,
it's no big
he
deal.
loved it.
It's no big deal.
It's like being back.
All right, we've got a shortened show today for Shocker Baseball. So we're just going to shoot the breeze, as they used to say back in my day. Who knows what we'll talk about in the final 15, 20 minutes or so. Mike Furches with us today, as well as Jason Duda. We've got the three-man booth tomorrow from the East Wichita studio. We look forward to that. We'll be back in a moment.
Leading Ladies, a concert in celebration of Women's History Month featuring Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, Christina Perry. At the King's Theater in Brooklyn, New York on Wednesday, March 20th. Tickets are on sale now. You don't want to miss this amazing night of music dedicated to uplifting women's voices. With Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, and Christina Perry. Odyssey's Leading Ladies, presented by Olay Body. Buy your tickets now at kingstheater.com.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Have you watched any of the new Letterman that's on Netflix?
I have.
I
It's
think
enjoyable.
I really enjoyed. I think I loved Letterman early on. Towards the end, I think he kind of became curmudgeon, but he's back in his element. The interview with him and U2 on the Netflix series is amazing.
I got to look at that one.
Yeah, it's really good.
Did they have Jason Duda, Mike Furches with me today? We'll be signing off here in about 15 minutes or so. Is there a Canadian iconic talk show host?
As a talk show host?
Yeah. Late night, did you stay up and watch Sir Robert whatever?
The knighted guy?
I don't know. Who did you have anybody comparable to Johnny Carson,
No.
David Letterman, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel?
No. Most of those shows when I was growing up were, if you got them on the 2 channels that we had. You're laughing, but this is the truth.
I just
only had 2 channels.
I just can't help but laugh. I'm sorry.
Channel 10 and Channel 13, CBC and CTV. And there was no late night that I can remember. If there was, the only one I ever remembered was who we were just talking about.
Wow.
Do you remember the crew from SCTV,
Yes.
all those folks?
Yes, that I remember.
Hey, Red and Green was popular television.
Red Green was very popular back home.
It's popular for some circles down here. I loved Red Green, and a lot of good public Canadian shows.
I just read Only Murders in the Building season 4 has cast Eugene Levy. Now that I love.
That's we D and I watched that series. It's great.
That's a fantastic series.
It is. It's good.
Would it make my top 10? No. I can't wait for that.
Have to be working on it, and you'll make your selections in 2 or 3 days before. And I gotta go back. I forgot about this one. And
We'll involve Duda on that one. Top 10 TV series.
Red Green, top of the list because it's Canadian.
No. I mean, I watched it, but it wasn't the top of the list. I already know the top of the list. Can't give it away now if I'm coming in Wednesday.
No, we can't do that. We gotta keep that under wraps.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I'm tempted to give a couple, but I'm not going to. People,
You
that
want
know-
to. It's
people who
eating
know
you
me
up
will-
right now not to.
Yeah, it is. It's
So why don't you throw one out there? I'm going to give you a little. Just throw one out there. You'll feel better.
no.
Let me tear it
guess
down.
one.
Let me tear it down.
Guess one.
Guess
That you think might
okay.
be in my top 10.
You just named one a minute ago. I think might be there.
Red Green?
No,
Why not? Because it's Canadian.
I've never seen it.
There you go. Right there.
I don't speak Canadian.
Here we go. Well,
What in the world? Who left their phone on?
What's
Well, I've been a new
name?
guy.
Pick one and
so just any series.
yeah, one you think would be in my top 10. I mean, if you've listened to this
Justified.
show at all,
Justified.
that's borderline.
Well, it was a guess.
That's borderline.
Okay. Well, what about
I did not care for
Succession?
I did not care for the return of Justified.
I didn't like this. You guys got me watching it because you guys were talking about it. So I popped it on. I'm like, I'll give it a shot. And then I had to watch 6 seasons of it.
I just didn't care about it.
Here's the thing about
The last one that came on, the Miami one or wherever he's in.
Yeah,
or
but the Detroit one.
Detroit.
The
yeah.
original
No,
Justified is incredible.
Yeah,
But
that's really good.
Here's the good thing about the newer one, is Raylan Givens is going to be coming back. If they do another season, not Raylan,
Yeah, I know. who you're
Raylan.
talking about. No,
Raylan's a good guy.
Are they bringing the bad guy back
Yes,
from Kentucky?
yes.
He was my favorite character, and I can't remember his name right now.
Walter Coggins plays the.
Yeah,
And I can't remember the name of the character.
can't remember the name.
But he's coming back, and that gave me hope.
I guess. Although, if you're having to do that, aren't you kind of grasping at straws? Didn't the producers maybe think, this series isn't very good, so let's bring Coggins back?
They could.
I don't know.
They could have, but if it's a formula that works, it works.
I hope it works.
It's like Andy Griffith was never the same without Barney. It was okay, it was good, but
Yeah, I watched those episodes, but I'm not investing in them.
yeah. In some ways, was Walter Coggin, was he even more popular as a character than Timothy Oliphant?
In some ways.
Yeah, I think he was. So
In some ways, but Timothy Oliphant is,
he's amazing.
man, I love him.
Deadwood, everything else he's been in, he's just amazing.
There's one. Ooh, Deadwood. Have you seen Deadwood?
No.
McShane, Mr. McShane is the antagonist in that one.
It's unbelievably good. Would it be in my top 10? Tough.
we think about when I think of Deadwood and what we did to westerns. The real western as to what it was really like we see in Deadwood, is so much more interesting than some of the other.
Yeah, that was just that was great.
I think the shootout in Open Range is the best shootout in a movie ever. I mean, it's lasts all of 15 seconds and it's over with.
Wow.
So, have you seen Open Range?
I don't think I have.
Oh,
maybe I have. Who's in it?
Who is in that series?
I got it. No, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I got to watch that.
I'm trying to look
Robert-
it up.
Robert
Give me
Duvall.
5 minutes.
Robert Duvall.
You've been trying to look up
Open-
the first thing for
I just found it.
half an hour.
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
I'll tell you another series that would vie for the top 10, and that's Lonesome Dove.
Yeah.
When you mentioned, did you just mention Robert Duvall?
Yeah. One of the great actors.
Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones. I don't know how you're going to go wrong there.
And I'm just and one of the great character actors that we had such an honor to be able to interview with Barry Corbin.
Love Barry
Yeah.
Corbin.
I mean,
Yeah, kudos to you for setting that up. That's one of my favorite interviews.
there's some of those characters and some of those actors were just. And Robert Duvall, I think Robert Duvall's got to be in the top 5, and he hardly ever gets any mention as to the quality of acting.
Well, wait, it'll be sad because he'll pass away here one of these days,
Yeah.
and the tributes will be glowing.
Yeah.
And I just think he's incredible. Love him.
Yeah. Amazing actor.
Everything he's done. And Kevin Costner has some kind of new Western coming out, which is taking him away from Yellowstone. So he's going to be replaced on Yellowstone. Who's replacing him?
I'm not sure.
Matthew McConaughey? Is that right?
That's a
I think
strange.
He's not going to be on Yellowstone anymore, the new season?
He's going to wrap up this whenever they decide to wrap it up. The strike really set them back, but then he's leaving Yellowstone.
Did they kill him off, do you think?
I would be shocked if they did that.
It'll be hard to imagine a continuation without them killing him off in some way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that would have to happen.
Well, you never know. It'd be a sad moment, won't it?
Well, I won't be happy about it, but
I mean, is he likable on that series, or is he just
I think he's just good. On that
admirable?
series.
I'd go more admirable.
Yeah, admirable. I would agree. Is there really hardly any likable characters
No.
at all in that series?
Really aren't.
No.
When you really boil them down,
I like the bad cowboy.
no, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
He's not a likable character.
He is. I like him.
No, you don't. You don't like
I
him.
just said I like him.
If he walked in here right now,
Oh, we'd go have a beer.
oh no, you wouldn't.
Oh, yeah, we would.
I liked Buck Taylor, but they killed him off too. But he wasn't in it very much.
He'd knock that hat off and away you'd go.
Giddy up. Then we go have a beer. That's how you do it.
Do you miss those days?
At the rodeo, you get into a fight, you get into a little bit of a brawl, and then you
Oh, I
all
wish
go have
Jeff
a beer.
was here right now.
Then you go out and have a beer, and it's
Then you
over.
go
with.
and have a beer.
And it's over with.
It's done.
Oh,
See ya. It's all good. All right, we're fine.
not gonna lose any sleep.
We're all going to make it.
Happy days. Let's have a beer. We love it. We love you.
Got a good story for the next few months.
I tell you what, I did just finish watching, and that made me think of it. Reacher. We saw the movie Ordinary Angel the other night. It is amazingly good. And
Ordinary Angel.
yes, it stars
know that one.
the guy that plays Reacher and I think it's Hilary Swank that's in it. It's like a top-notch cast. And it's a true story about a fellow that his daughter's very sick, his wife dies, the daughter's very sick, and the town has to come together to get her to the hospital for a I think it's a liver transplant. But Reacher, if I'd have known that he was in it, I would have planned to see it. Sheila, my wife, booked the tickets for that show without me knowing that she'd booked that particular movie.
What's the name of it
I
again?
think it's Ordinary Angel. Is that the name?
Yeah, Hilary Swank. Alan Richardson. I don't know
of it?
him.
That's Reacher from the Jack Reacher
It is?
on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen Reacher, Jason?
No.
Oh my gosh. It has to. That very well may make my top 10. I'm going to have to. I will consider it for my top 10.
Really?
Yes, it's that good. It is.
What about the one on Paramount Plus that you were?
Bass Reeves?
Yeah.
I really like Bass, but it won't be my top 10. Wouldn't even be close to being in my top 10. But it was really good. And the actor for that was nominated for a Screen Actors Guild for Best Actor.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I haven't gone down that road yet.
Yeah, it's worth watching. It's because I like the historical Bass Reeves.
We finally watched the one on Netflix about the abduction of the woman. What was that called, Duda?
Abduction of the woman.
Yeah, several years ago. There's a 3-part series on Netflix, and we watched it. The abduction of the woman in California that looked a lot like the Gone Girl thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I watched that. I watched that as well.
I know what you're talking about. It was good. That was good too.
Well, it was good, but it caused me to lose a little bit of hope in the judicial system. I'll tell you that. That they, without giving too much away, they just wrote her off as dead and somebody as a murderer.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yes.
But they did have to pay up.
Oh yeah, but do they pay? How do you pay up enough for something of that?
I don't know. They took that poor girl through the ringer.
And the man.
Yeah.
The
Well,
boyfriend
yeah,
or
because
now
he
husband.
was in the same boat.
Yeah, and worse in some ways because he's been accused of murder.
They said they settled for $2.5 million.
Yeah, that's not a whole lot.
No, it's not. It ruined their whole lives.
They 2.5 will get you a decent life back.
Get you a hamburger at Wendy's.
I mean, you'll do okay with 2.5.
Yeah, you'll do okay,
I don't
but
think it's enough in the scheme of things.
I don't think so either.
Well, maybe they can sue for more later. I don't know.
No, they settled for it. It says it at the end of the show.
You go back.
Oh, jeez.
Find something else you don't
I
like.
ran out, so I need some more because I just didn't get enough.
Well, you bring another suit.
Ask. Another suit for what? You just sued for?
I don't know. I'm not an attorney.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know what this suit was for.
Just sue. Just keep suing over the same thing.
For what they went through,
they needed more.
They needed more.
I would have expected somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 million. Would have seemed more fair.
At least. I think they deserve 25, 30 million.
Wow.
Yeah, they just, for what they went through.
They got hosed.
Man, yeah. And the police,
it was pretty.
Not to give too much away, but it's
No, it was. I don't think you're giving anything away. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. And they called it the Gone Girl. Can you imagine about the impact of social media and pop culture? The police watch this movie called The Gone Girl, and they just assume that this real life case is another Gone Girl story. They called it the Gone Girl, the murder, is what they called it.
I guess I ought to mention last night BYU went into Allen Fieldhouse and won. Jason Duda said he predicted that. I don't have that on any kind of record or.
It was during the break I said it.
Certainly wasn't mentioned here on the show.
I did mention because I was worried about KU, their depth. They get into games
I don't remember
like that.
you during the break saying that BYU would win that game.
Oh, yeah.
With the inclusion of BYU, does the merger look better than ever? Do the new teams?
Well,
look
the
like
inclusion of
really
BYU, Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a win-win.
And then next year you've got Arizona coming in. So yeah, I mean it's incredible.
Conference champions, probably national.
And Utah, Utah's had a very good program, and don't sell Colorado short. But that conference, there's just so many teams now. You've got so many teams in 4 conferences,
and they're scattered.
And they're taking up all the air.
Yeah,
all of it. Anybody else, any other conferences, anybody, here in Wichita where it's the American Athletic Conference. We'll pay attention to that, but nationally, it's going to be about 4 conferences, and they're going to get all the run. They're going to get the big TV deals. I don't know what these smaller conferences will do moving forward. It'll be very challenging.
It'll be very hard to imagine them going on, especially with the NIL and everything else that's going on the way it is.
We built a secondary professional league. In a
matter
of 4 conference.
In a matter of minutes.
Where a college athlete can make more money than a rookie in the NFL or the NBA.
They all do. That's why most of them will probably stay for a while. What's Arch Manning getting? $3.2 million a year?
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah.
So
he's
if he's
not even playing.
Exactly.
Yeah. That in some ways, does that bring back the nostalgia years where we have the same team for 4 years, or the likelihood of that? We've not had that, but I can kind of see that as a positive thing. If I have 4 guys on a college team or a football team to yell for year after year after year, pretty much consistently, that helps improve the fan response, I think.
Max, are we ending it here shortly, or do I go to a break? I'm not exactly sure on what to do. And since I'm steering this ship very, very well, I might add.
It's very interesting that you can admit that you don't know what you're doing.
And and that'll be it. Is that correct, Max? There you go. That's all I needed. And it's good to have that exchange on the air for everybody to hear.
That's fantastic.
I think it takes you inside.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Takes you inside.
I just said it was fantastic.
We should get some kind of award for that, just including Max in the show like we did.
Thank you guys for being here today. We're done.
That's it?
This is it. We have had a remarkable conversation. We'll do this 40-minute thing again Friday. Mike Furches, always good to see you in your Tennessee hoodie.
Always good to be here.
Jason Duda, always good to see you in whatever you're wearing. And great to be with you. Have a good one. Shockers, Oral Roberts coming up next.
Leading Ladies, a concert in celebration of Women's History Month featuring Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, Christina Perry. At the King's Theater in Brooklyn, New York on Wednesday, March 20th. Tickets are on sale now. You don't want to miss this amazing night of music dedicated to uplifting women's voices. With Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, and Christina Perry. Odyssey's Leading Ladies presented by Olay Body. Buy your tickets now at kingstheater.com.